Sure. And then, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I have a question about how you learn. We heard today in the opening session from Bob Reynolds that our industry spends very, very little on development. And I was just wondering, when you seek out information, where are you going for the information, and how do you learn?
I think, like she mentioned earlier, our generation is so technology oriented and we are able to get information so fast all the time. I'm just used to being able to go on the internet and get literally anything that I want. I don't even pretty much know what a phone book is. I've never really had to use one. Everything is available on the internet. For me, I do anything industry-wise information. I have used a lot of the NLC courses, and I've done a lot of training that way. I don't have a problem going to ask questions if I don't know the answer and I want to learn more. I'll go to somebody in the company that I think can help. But also just having the information as fast as possible. If there isn't someone there looking things up, I think is, I'm always on Google, pretty much.
Yeah, I echo that. I learned the electrical industry via Google because I had to be able to relate. So I learned about electricity in high school, but of course it goes until you use it. So I retaught myself using Wikipedia and other things. But as far as business sense, I think the primary source is mentorship. I spend a lot of time in glass offices.
I read a lot. I'm just constantly reading. If it's industry magazines, something a little bit more specific, newspapers, of course the internet, anything that I can get my hands on, I'm constantly reading. Ask a lot of questions. My company doesn't really have a formal training program, and because I'm at a satellite office, sometimes I don't get the in-house training that they give when it comes to products or anything like that. So I have to kind of learn on my own. I ask my customers a lot of questions to the point where it's probably embarrassing, but I'd rather get it straight from the source and really understand the topic, really understand my customer and their needs. So I'm constantly asking questions, constantly reading. But it's a self-training type of thing. I mean, there's so much going on and we're all so busy that really to sit down during a structured training class probably isn't going to be realistic. So we have to do it on our own time and quickly.
Yeah, I think the best training for me is kind of along with what you're saying is just the traveling with and talking to customers and really just listening and just asking questions and asking my boss questions because he's been in the business for such a long time. I mean, really just listening and asking questions can really get you a long way, and you can learn a lot. Because I look around the room and I'm sure there's probably 15, 20, 25 years of experience in there. So you guys are just like a wealth of knowledge. So it helps out a lot.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Dustin. I think giving people the opportunity to sit in on meetings, maybe sit in with customers, sit in with vendors, sit in on those kind of things, for me that's been so valuable. I feel like I learned so much, and I feel that I'm, it makes me feel important, like I'm part of something. But just by listening and being able to ask those questions when you're there, that really helps.
So you guys are in marketing and sales roles and stuff, but I bet a lot of distributors in here feel the same way. And Bob touched on it in his meeting that he started in the warehouse and as a driver. And I think that's where we have a big challenge of attracting younger people to come work and want to learn the business versus a lot of them, like you said, I'm on Google, hey, I want to be a marketing person, I want to be in sales. How do we get these people that want to come in and drive a truck for a year and learn the product, work up on the counter? That's the tough part. I see. I can find a lot of people want to do marketing for a company or sales, but how do I get that baseline start?
Border States has a management trainee program that I think is a really awesome program. It can bring, you can come in from outside the company or inside the company, but it's 2 years of literally learning every aspect of that business. You have to go into the warehouse and you have to be able to do everything that the warehouse guys do. You have to be able to work at the city desk. You have to do inside sales. You shadow the managers. You do everything for that 2 years. And I think giving someone the opportunity to be able to come into the company and learn everything there, and you may put them in a warehouse position. They may be your supervisor. They may be working in there for a while, but they also know that there is an opportunity for them to go somewhere. They may not want to work in the warehouse forever.
How do they decide who gets to go through that program?
It's an interview process. They generally accept one person per region each year, if the region is open to bringing someone in. And then they will be put in a particular branch during their training period.
I took the job, and in the interview process, he told me, "You will be at the CEO's house cleaning his cat litter." So we'll start anywhere. We just have to. We just need the opportunity to prove ourselves. That's really it. Like if you want talented people, I think, in general, are willing to earn whatever they have because they know they can. But if you try to stick everybody into the same role and say, okay, because I feel like the electrical industry does this a lot, it's a pay your dues seniority type scenario where you drive a truck, then you're the warehouse guy, then you're counter guy, then you're inside guy, then you're outside guy, then branch manager, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody in our generation wants to do all that to get to the top. I mean, if you know, in my opinion, but we'll start anywhere. We'll clean cat litter, but if you continually challenge us and we prove ourselves, we need that opportunity to grow.
I think it's maybe not so much about recruiting, and it might be more about recognizing a special talent or that quality about the person that you already have in-house working in the warehouse. That, you know, maybe you see something and you say, okay, this guy might work. This guy, I might be able to take him to the next level. I mean, it's definitely not a flashy industry by any means, but if somebody doesn't want to work in the warehouse and you know, climb their way to the top, then I wouldn't want them on board. I mean, I think we've all really kind of started from the bottom and moved up, so anybody who's worthy of a position like that would be willing to do that.
How do you guys find, I mean, like I said, when I was in school, I knew nothing about distribution, manufacturing. I mean, I didn't know who Graybar was, Stoneway, I mean, Oaf, nobody. I had no idea. How do you guys, if you were looking, have you guys, any of you brought on some younger people fresh out of school in your business?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question, Dustin, is how do we find people and how do we go through that interview process? And I've had the opportunity to work for some great companies in my career. It really comes down to, and this is something for maybe you guys to take back with you, is you really have to look at the person that you're interviewing. Sometimes we as managers, we get caught up with the paper and the resume that you guys are just so good at doctoring up. What I've learned from making mistakes is you really have to look at the person. And the people that I've hired in my career has been by attitude, because that's the only thing that you cannot train. So if you focus on that, then you as leaders, because you're up there for a purpose, you guys are definitely leaders. If you focus on that, you can definitely be successful.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. I definitely don't think that younger and cheaper equals better by any means. You know, when I work with my sales reps and they hire new young people, I mean, I'd have to say I probably am the hardest judge when it comes to that, because I'm skeptic. I don't think that just because you're young and a go-getter that means you're going to be a good quality worker. And for me, I would take experience over that any day, but it's identifying that one person that has that certain something that can take it to the next level.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just the fit. It's the person. I mean, your next person that you hire could be the guy you're sitting at dinner with or a family friend. I mean, that's just seems it's all about the person and the attitude, like you said, that really makes it work. So,
and I would also challenge that concept that you have to go through the ranks every time. I mean, certainly it happens probably more often than not, but if you always do that and you're only interested in somebody that starts in the ranks, you'll probably lose a lot of innovation. I think one of my greatest strengths when I started working for the company is that I hadn't worked in the branch, so I looked at it completely differently. It wasn't, we do this because we've always done this. I would have been ingrained like that. You know, what is the process? I learned it, I do it, I repeated it. And then I wouldn't have been able to look at it with a different light. And it gave me a lot of advantages, I think. Like I converted how we did reports, and it saved a tremendous amount of money. But if I had been in there, I probably would have just accepted how we did reports, as an example.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing about bringing on someone that, like myself or anybody that had no knowledge of the industry. You offer a new perspective of your business, and so you can actually. It's something, hopefully Encore's learned something from me. You know, I mean, when you bring on new people, you know, they offer a new perspective, so it could help your business be more efficient.
I
I think a thing to think about is we talk about fit for the job, and you're all familiar with that. You're looking for good fit. You might extend that definition to also include fit for the culture and fit for the social network. Yeah. So how does that person fit into your organization? Another advantage that many of you have is many millennials are very much attracted to small to medium-sized companies because of the exposure they have to the senior leaders. And if you can do some of the things that have been offered to these folks, that's something to keep in mind. And the other is that unemployment for the millennial generation is a significant issue. And use that to your, leverage that, use that to your advantage. There's talent that are looking for work. Yes.
Describe your competitive nature, because that's something that interests me. You know, describe your competitive nature. How important is just winning to you?
Yeah,
I'll let you start down there.
Yeah, I grew up playing football since I was 5 years old. I played all the way through high school. I played in college, and so, you know, very competitive, strong work ethic, very team-oriented, very resilient, you know, and that's, I mean...
And how do you bring that to the workforce?
Really, with me, I like to be challenged. So, you know, with as lean as we are, I'm just saying, you know, give me whatever you got, bring it on. You know, I'll take on, you know, more than I can really handle, but it's really just the ability just to be able to manage all that. So, I think the willingness to take on, you know, more than, not necessarily more than you can handle, but I mean, I like to take on a lot of responsibility. So,
it's extremely important to me. I mean, it's my priority to be the top producer in my company every year. And I think that it's kind of a package deal. You know, when you get that resistance from maybe the older generation that doesn't understand the value that you bring, when you look at the numbers, you can't dispute them. So that's extremely important. And I do that, I think, mostly by just, like Dustin said, taking on a lot of responsibility, probably sometimes too much, but that's something that I'm willing to do. I'm willing to sacrifice some of my personal time to make sure that I stay at the top. And I think that it's also important when you're managing people to carry on that attitude and to help motivate. I have a sales team of about 30 guys that are under me, and every single day I'm talking to those guys, trying to get them, you know, jazzed about how it go and put us at the top of their list. So yeah, I try to put it out in my daily. It's just what I do. I really want to be top producer, top priority. Competitiveness is a huge thing. So yeah, it's an attitude really.
I'm going to throw off the panel a little bit. I'm not competitive. And you know, maybe Diane can speak on the sociology of this, but I didn't play football or a lot of team sports. I was more the X Games guy, snowboarding, motocross, and that you're not on a team. You're just out, you know, to do your own thing. And for me,
you're not competitive. I mean, like high score never meant anything to you or anything like that.
No, not really. You know, I think my drive isn't so much to try to beat other people. I think I have a more Unitarian drive where I want the people around me to succeed with me. I am driven for recognition, of course, but I'm not trying necessarily to beat down everybody. If that, I don't know.
I was never really a sports person. My competitive nature, I guess, came from my grades. I was like a spelling bee person, always wanted to get really good grades, like kind of the nerdy part. I was never really good at sports, I tried. But so my competitive nature is more, you know, my friends have always kind of, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but my friends have always kind of told me that I was kind of bossy. So I've always liked to come in and just kind of control situations. I like to see what's going on and kind of like twist things around and make sure that everything's working. So I'm more competitive in that way, that I like to oversee, and I want to be able to have a better, more amazing idea than something else. I want to try and come in and see what I can change and what might be different. And I feel like, at least in this industry, I feel like you sometimes, for us, for my age, for being a woman, sometimes you are almost kind of competing with the people that are older than you, who've been here longer. You want to be able to prove yourself to them, to your boss, to everyone else. So I think that everyone's competitive nature has to come out in some way, because if you're not trying to prove yourself, you know, no one's really going to pay attention to you. You might just get overlooked.